I never thought my peaceful retirement would end with bulldozers tearing through 100-year-old maple trees. But that's exactly what happened. I stood there, fists clenched, watching the forest my family had protected for generations collapse into dust under the orders of a homeowners association president who thought she could own everything she saw. And the worst part, that was only the beginning. I was 53 when I moved into my uncle's farmhouse on the edge of hills, a small town where the air still smelled like wood smoke in the fall. After 26 years fighting wildland fires, I wanted quiet. Just me, my dog, Scout, and 18 acres of maple forest. My uncle left it to me in his will, and I treated it like a sanctuary. I rebuilt the sugar shack, kept bees, grew tomatoes, walked the woods at dawn. That forest wasn't just property, it was memory-healing, sacred ground. At first, the homeowners association next door, Briar Glen, didn't concern me. Perfect lawns, stone driveways, pool memberships. They lived their lives, I lived mine. Then came Karen Whitmore. Mid-50s, crisp polo shirts, the kind of woman who can smile while stabbing you in the back. She showed up on my porch one afternoon with a lemon bar and a clipboard asking if I'd consider donating part of my land for the community. I told her flat out no. The land stays wild. Scout growled at her like he already knew what she was. It didn't stop there. Pink X's sprayed on trees inside my property surveyors with tripods muttering about future improvements, cameras suddenly mounted near the boundary line. I stormed into the HOA office with my deed in hand, shoved it across her desk, and told her to keep her people off my land. She just smiled that snake smile and suggested I attend the next HOA meeting. I didn't. I called my lawyer instead. But Karen wasn't done. She showed up again this time with a slick consultant and an envelope labeled Shared Use Campground Proposal. I didn't even open it before saying no. She dropped her smile and warned me about eminent domain and environmental neglect like she thought a few buzzwords would scare me. I threw their paperwork into my fire pit, but the very next week a sign appeared nailed to one of my trees, future site of Briar Glen Wilderness Experience. A QR code linked to a fundraiser as if they already owned the place. I caught her in the act once standing in my forest with a group of teenagers, a man revving a chainsaw, laughing like it was some kind of field trip. I shouted, "Turn that damn thing off!" She waved a piece of paper at me. Some fake overlay map they'd drawn up and claimed my grove was now provisional green space. I tore the paper from her hand and told her if she touched one more tree, I'd have her arrested. She didn't even blink, just turned back to the kids and kept going like I wasn't there. That night, I sat at my kitchen table staring at old photos, me and Uncle Ray tapping maples in Spring Scout as a puppy chasing leaves. For the first time, I doubted myself. Maybe I was being stubborn. Maybe I couldn't fight the machine. Maybe I should just give up, sell, walk away before they buried me in paperwork and fake maps. I felt powerless, like the forest itself was slipping through my fingers. But then I remembered Canyon Ridge. The fire that nearly killed me, the one that took so many others. I remembered how fast flames spread when no one acted, how silence always fed destruction. And I realized this wasn't just about me. This was about standing my ground, because if I didn't, Karen would think she could take whatever she wanted from anyone. That thought snapped something back inside me. I wasn't done. Not yet. I hired Sandra Becker, a bulldog attorney who'd once taken down a timber company for clear-cutting tribal land. She sent a cease and desist, but Karen ignored it. Instead, she organized a family fall festival in my woods. Tents, fire pits, kids roasting marshmallows in a forest that hadn't seen rain in weeks. I stormed down there with my phone recording, shouting that they were violating state orders. She smirked, talking about some emergency HOA bylaw. That's when chaos hit. A deer bolted through the clearing, panicked, crashing into a tent pole. Kids screamed. Sparks shot from the fire pit. Parents scrambled. One child fell and scraped his knee, while others tried to smother the flames with blankets. I stomped out embers with my boots, growling at Karen. Get out before someone ends up in the hospital or worse. For the first time, her face went pale. I caught it all on video. That footage went straight to Sandra the sheriff and the rangers. and it was the turning point. From that moment, Karen lost control. My lawyer found proof of shady contracts funneling HOA money to her consultant buddy. Fraud, not just trespassing. Rangers from the Department of Natural Resources showed up posting bright red "Stop Work" signs on my trees. Karen arrived in her spotless white SUV, screaming at them, demanding they stop harassing a community project. Ranger Elise Tran shut her down cold. "This land is privately owned. You had no right to build here. You're under investigation for violating state environmental law." Karen froze. Not the kind of pause where you're planning your next excuse. This was the silence of someone realizing the game was over. Derek, her slick vice president, tugged her arm and muttered, "We're going." And just like that, she was led away, powerless for once. Weeks later in court, the judge spelled it out. The HOA fined $94,000 for restoration. Karen personally fined $15,000 and banned from holding any HOA office for 10 years. The judge looked right at her and said, "You endangered property, public safety, and the environment." She shrank in her seat. No clipboard, no smile, just gray silence. I didn't cheer. I didn't even smile. I just sat there exhausted, knowing the forest had survived for now. The maple grove still bore scars, but at least it was safe from her bulldozers, safe from her arrogance. And that's where it ended. Karen fell silent, her power stripped away, her reputation in ruins. My forest still stood. Some battles aren't about winning, they're about refusing to surrender what matters.